That one is a tough one to swallow. Welcome back to Pommy and Oz. Hope we're all doing really well today. Hope you're doing better than me. Anyway, first of all, if you're new around here, hit that like button, hit that subscribe. We're trying to get to 10K. It's a huge goal. We're smashing the subs out. So if you can do that for me, muchas gracias. Stick with me. I'll try not to let you down. Welcome back if you are already subbed. On the back of, honestly, a real tough pill to swallow against our foes. Essendon in a game that really, if we are honest, I don't think we were ever in it. To be honest, 34-point loss. Essendon came out to play in the second half, and they put us to the sword easier than the executioner did Anne Boleyn, to be honest. It was men against boys in that second half, and it's just a perpetual cycle at the minute of nothing, really. It's a hard one to stomach when you watch the rewatch, because more things stand out to you the more you watch when you know what's going to happen. But 33 tackles for the game, our lowest tackle count since 2015, our worst pressure rating of the year, 7 tackles inside 50, 6 players with 1 tackle, 8 with none. 39% efficiency inside 50, 27% scoring accuracy. It's another level at times when you watch the boys. Just when you think they can't surprise you anymore, they do. They're like they're really disjointed at the minute, and everything that you look at that you try and find a positive is just like a big fugazi. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's bizarre. Teams now mirror the Melbourne defensive pattern. They leave them shots 45% out. They flood deep D50. So Carlton get a lot of options of entries inside 50, but they're low percentile options. You ain't kicking lots of goals. When people talk about Carlton scoring efficiency, they make out like the players are doing it deliberately, but these are low percentage plays. It's like shooting a 3-ball from fucking halfway. Teams give that up because it's such a low percentage play. And it's an easy play. You go back and watch this week, it's one of the least defended parts. And then you look at the first half. For me, the first half says everything I need to know about the mentality of going into the game, that we flooded 18 men behind the ball. It was like watching Shaun Dux. It was like watching Everton versus Arsenal. 11 men behind the ball, and hopefully we catch them on a set piece. They were literally set up there to not lose. You've got Charlie Curnow having pot shots at 75 out from goal because no one's forward. I actually missed the days Mickey Gibbons was full forward because at least some twat was in the forward line. And this is as disjointed as I've seen Carlton. Even 2018, I could kind of say, well, at least they're learning something. But the lesson should have been learned. And its options are plenty as well at times. When Carlton did have good looks inside 50, they went wide. And that is Carlton's like kind of game plan at the moment. Wide, wide, wide. Wide, wide, wide. 22 points outscored on turnover. Essendon out-controlled a controlled game style. Our strength, contested possessions, bullied off the ball. When you've got a guy like Paddy Dow who can't get a game in these seniors, being equals second most tackles for 20% of the game played. It kind of really underlines the intensity. And you know what kicks me in the dick? When Voss says the effort was there for no reward, though, and unless we're starting to KPI other efforts other than what has been calculated as effort for the last 40 years in AFL, fuck knows. Unless one of the effort indicators is getting to the ground on time. But that's against your rivals. That's the kind of game that, no matter how bad Carlton have been, it's a game that traditionally you can count on the boys putting it to one side and giving it a fair fucking heave-ho. But they weren't. And Ed Kerner, people are saying Ed Kerner did a great tackling job, but he had 0 tackles in that tag job. And that was just a systematic thing. If you actually look at the hit-outs and where the ball went, they attacked the different side. They moved Zach Merritt to get him into the game. And it was, 22 seconds in the third that he kicked a goal? Like, we were out-coached, outworked, outperformed, outwilled, out-prided. Just made a word up there, but, that hurts. TDK, 7 uncontested marks dropped. He's not the only one. There's a few in there. Basic skills not taken care of. And, I always think when the basics aren't done, when I'm at work and I look at people not doing the basics, like paperwork, keeping their desk tidy, that shows a lazy mentality. That shows apathy to me. And maybe I'm harsh, but these guys last year were one of the top tackling sides in the comp inside 50. They were one of the top tackling sides, full stop. That was one of the things that you could see. And that hasn't fallen by the wayside. That has dropped off a cliff. And it's amazing how they seem to be getting worse. And I'm not one to be dramatic. I try not to be. I mean, I know that I can be dramatic, but for a side that was 6th last year, tackles inside 50, to be putting that output out. And I know tackles have never been a great strong suit, but contested ball has been. You've got to ask questions now, even of the coaching group. The players definitely have to take a rap, because at the end of the day, there's got to be a kind of motivation factor from the players, a self-preservation and a self-pride. But who's motivating these players? And for Voss to say, finish your work, you ain't finishing your work when you're having set shots 48 metres out on a fucking acute angle. Like, look at Geelong where they have their shots from. It's like 30 away from goal. High percentage players. Look at Essendon. They were close to goal. They're going into the high 60s success rate. Teams are leaving that there for 2 reasons. One, if you leave 40 to 50 there, it's a great option for intercept marks. And 2, it's a low percentage success on the shot. And it makes sense to give Carlton behinds, because Carlton's transition defence is up there with the France nation's defence of Paris during the war. Do you know what I mean? We might as well just start buttering the fucking baguettes for them. It's happening. And I always look at moments in games, momentum building. You watch Carlton, when we kick a goal and we get close, even the celebration was limp this week, but we concede straight away, and it's almost routine. We win the centre clearance, we get it inside 50, bang, on the counter. It's almost like we admire our work. And it's like either it's the players are so far in their head, and yeah, part of me says you've got to give them love and compassion, but they're full-grown adults. There has to be a point where we stop using, the method of stick together, fucking in it together. And some people have some long, hard looks in the mirror. Man, this is elite level sport. This is what they've dreamt of since they were kids. Players giving up chases, players giving up space. The amount of times Essendon had 4-2 on an overlap, their ability to overload our midfield was phenomenal. And it's that lack of want. And I appreciate it's tough. I'm not stupid, but you've got to help yourself. And it's starting to get embarrassing, isn't it? It's starting to really, really hurt because we set up not to lose. That's where we are now. And we are a million miles away from sides. And questions have got to be asked. We are so far away. It's killing me. And I don't see any end in sight. I really don't. I really don't see any end in sight. I don't know how you change it. And I don't know if the club are bold enough to make the changes, but I don't actually think you can fix it mid-season. And it's going to get progressively worse. And until there's some accountability, I don't think they can fix it. I think at the moment it feels like the club are just in some kind of blind faith that tomorrow it'll turn around. But you're seeing it on the ground. It's getting worse. Players that generally you can rely on now are starting to shirk, are starting to go within themselves. It's a real sad sight to see. And it's a side at the moment that is suffering from top to bottom. And they like... You bring the 16 trophies out from both clubs, you're expecting some fighting. And it's a long way away. It's a long way away. It's one of them things that I look now and the application is so far away from the standard. That's a problem. Like before we get on the structure was the woeful, the running patterns were so obvious now. It's like we've given them the hymn sheet and the sides now know how to beat us. Do you know what I mean? You cause a little bit of indecision in the back line. You put a bit of pressure on. You know Carlton are going to go up that wing. You know they're going to go shallow as well with that kick and they're going to make mistakes. You can turn it over. You know in the midfield that you don't have to condense the corridor. You tease the corridor and Carlton fall for that trap a lot. You get Carlton to get wide because you know the only kick available to them inside 50 is a high bomb about 40 out, which then gives you the option of rotating forward in front of the forwards and taking that intercept mark, which they did very well. Essendon did, credit to them. But that is signposted on. And Carlton's like it's almost like a selfish arrogance to the game plan that they won't change the angle. And when they do change the angle, what's annoying is they create opportunities and they kick goals. When they did look for that switch kick late in the midfield, it created goals. And you're literally seeing a side that's almost, you ask the question, we will answer it for you. And it's a weird thing to see. I've never often supported a side that I'm actually embarrassed at times for. There's always been some element in me that believes. And that really hurts because the road to fixing it, in my opinion, is swift and it's got to be done concise. And people are talking about, it's okay, we'll rebuild. Tasmania are coming in. Teams struggle rebuilding when new teams come in because the draft is compromised. So even if you want to rebuild, do you know what I mean? Where's the evidence that they'll get it right? But the options aren't there. The depth and the season is becoming a nightmare. And it's okay, the club saying stick with us and be nice to us and stuff, but got to be fucking nice to the fans. You know what I mean? Like, we can see you hurting. We're not stupid, but so are we. And we back you in every week. But that was abject. That was shallow. That was lack of heart. And from Vossi coming in and saying we're going to play our way to where we are now, mind-boggling, because there's just no identity anymore. There's no soul, and the identity is readable. Gold Coast next week and then a week off, and the week off can't come soon enough, and I don't even think a week is long enough to do it, but we got to get some kind of process going ASAP, because at the moment the process isn't working, and we're a long way away, because Essendon were hurting without some A-list players, and they beat the midfield with ease. And now our one wood is starting to go. Very disappointing. I'm hurting, but I want to thank you all for the lovely messages. I'm okay. I'll always be okay. Don't have to worry about me. I'm more worried about you guys and girls, because I love you all so much. Like, that's the best thing about supporting Carlton, is this community and the people that I've met. That's the thing that gets me here every week, to be honest. And that's sad, but beautiful at the same time. I love you all very much. It will get better one day, I promise you. Until next time.
I see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body full of tats. Baby's bad, oh baby's hella bad.